Welcome to the Do Good Maverick Go podcast, episode number 65. The modern school system is a scam. The modern school system is probably one of the biggest scams in the history of the world. It's crazy. Primary school, that's one thing, like 10 years of demanded or required primary education. But after that, the amount of scammy college degrees, high schools, that kind of stuff, is wild. You know, as of August 16th, 2024, I think these numbers are from. I'm recording this in December of 2024. But yeah, as of it's August 2024. It's according to the internet, Americans owe $1.74 trillion in student loan debt. That's $1,740 billion in student loans. That's wild. It's sad to think about. I'm not saying that in every single case, without exceptions whatsoever, it's always a scam when people go to college or high school. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that in a lot of the cases, yeah, it absolutely is a waste. A waste of time and a waste of money. The amount of bullshit educations, we might as well just call it indoctrinations, because the modern school system is more like an indoctrination camp than an education camp, you know. And a pretty unique thing about student loans, first of all, the modern education system, the modern school system, it's tremendously overpriced. People paying like $600-700 for a book, and tens of thousands of dollars to get a degree that they don't even need. You know, on top of that, a pretty unique thing about student loans is that it's a kind of loan that even if you goes personally bankrupt, you can't delete it like you can with a lot of other types of loans. When it comes to student loans, it sticks with you almost as strictly as taxes. Even if you go personally bankrupt, you might get rid of a lot of other types of debt, but the student loans, they stick with you. At least in the US, it's that way. Imagine all the other things young people could learn and do with the 4 to 10 years of their lives and tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine all the options out there of what these young people could be learning and doing, experiencing, accomplishing instead. These days, there are degrees and educations for almost the most stupid, silly things you can think of. A few years ago, people just took a course and started working, or maybe not even a course, they just got a job, started working. That's it. And still to this day, here in Norway, that's very often the case. Grown men in their 40s. They want a new job. They apply for the job. Maybe they go for an interview. They get the job. They start working. That's it. They get the job and start working. But when it comes to a little young 19, 20-year-old, or let's say 16-year-old, because then primary school is done. They're out of the school. They're out of the demanded school system at 16 years old. If a 16-year-old applies for the same job as the 40-year-old, he doesn't get a job. Maybe he gets a trainee position, but oftentimes they require, no, you need an education. You need to go like 2 to 4 years on school first. Then the teenager can come and get a trainee position for like, it varies, but like 2 to 4 years as a trainee. Then he can get what's it called in English? Basically a kind of diploma. Now you are a certified, educated person on this subject. Now you can get a full income, a normal pay. The 40-year-old just stepped in without any special education, because a lot of jobs, it's still the case in the modern world that a lot of jobs you can do without requiring any special education. If you are over a certain age where demanding bullshit is just too plain stupid. Some things you just don't ask a 40-year-old man to do. It's just too stupid. Who has the gumption to straight up tell a 40-year-old man if he wants to be a truck driver, for example? Who has the gumption to go up to a grown-up 40-year-old man, look him in the eye and say, okay, so you want to be a truck driver for my company? Here's what you do. You go to 1 year of mechanics education school. Then you go for like 6 to 12 months on a transport school. Then you can come back and get a trainee position. On that transport school, you will get the driver's license and a course you need. And when you come back, you will get a trainee position, and we will pay you the normal trainee wages, which is a half of a normal wage. And once you have done that for 2 years, you can take this test to get your diploma, and then we will pay you a full income. I've never in my entire life heard someone say something as stupid as that to a 40-year-old man. But when it comes to young people getting started in life, instead of smiling and giving them a handshake, people tend to kick them in the nuts and headbutt them in the face, slap them, and tell them, go do something stupid and waste 4 years of your life. Maybe we'll pay you afterwards. That's almost the level of this rudeness. You know, I feel like exploding just thinking about it. What are we doing to young kids or young people in this modern world? Here in Norway, they're not asking a 40-year-old man to do all that. If a 40-year-old man wants to be a truck driver, get the driver's license, the truck driver's license, and the course you need. You can do it in like 1 to 2 months, and then come drive, and we'll give you a full pay. That's how it works. Seriously, that's how it works, and that's the way it should be. But when it comes to kids, they're not allowed to get the truck driver's license until they are, I think it's 21 years old. But if they go to a special school first, and become a trainee, then they can get the driver's license at 18 for a truck, an 18-wheeler, or 18. In Norway, it's like 22-wheelers, but yeah, where's the logic? When I talk about things like this, a lot of people kind of react to me and say, oh, you're so negative. Negative? Should I be positive about this? Is it a nice thing to do towards young people? Yeah, but they need an education. No. Where do if they need an education, why don't the 40-year-old man need the same thing? If the 40-year-old man comes into the same job with the same lack of experience and knowledge about the subject, he's a complete newbie as well. Why should we punish the young people? Yeah. And a truck driver, that's just one example. These examples goes on and on and on. Absolutely wild. And a truck driver, that's a mild example. The reason I'm mentioning that specific example is because I know several people, young people in my family, that has gone through the stupid school system to get a truck driver's license. It's funny. A few weeks ago, he has been a truck driver for decades. He's a great driver, a great guy. He was changing tires on one of his cars, and I asked him, hey, why don't you stop driving a truck? Stop being a truck driver and go to school and get a proper education and then become a trainee for like 2 years so that you can finally get your diploma and become a proper truck driver. I said it roughly like this to him, but in Norwegian, But he obviously got the joke. I was joking. Why would he do something stupid like that? It was so stupid of me to ask that he basically didn't give me much of an answer. And in this same scenario, my uncle was also at the same place fixing on his car. So I kind of turned around and I asked him, you just got this new job at this fish industry place, or at this place. And I asked him why, you know, basically, why didn't you go to school first or become a trainee? Because there's another young guy nearby that is becoming a trainee at the same workplace. And this young kid, he went to some school, but he had to be a trainee for, I think, 3 years. So I asked my uncle, why didn't he become the same? He could also get a diploma. He didn't even answer me. I guess he heard how stupid it was. Who asks grown men about stupid stuff like that? Apart from me, that does it like a joke. When I'm asking these questions, it's so stupid that people almost get offended by me asking them about something so stupid. That's the level of this stupidity. Okay, but if it's really that stupid and almost offensive to ask a 40 something or year old man or a grown man, why are we as a society demanding it from young people? If something is too stupid for a grown-up man to do, we should not be asking teenagers and 20-year-olds to do it. It's a disgrace. What are we doing to these young people? Absolutely mind-boggling. It's like, who cares if a teenager, if a 16-year-old or 20-year-old is wasting like 4 to 10 years of their lives? Who cares? They're still young. And like a few tens of thousands of dollars, maybe a couple of $100,000 in student loans. Who cares? In Norway, it's actually different when it comes to student loans compared to the US, because in Norway we have a few years of yeah, almost free education, but for longer educations, people still get into big student loans. But yeah, who cares if a young person wastes like 4 to 10 years of their lives, or if you almost demand them to do it? Who cares? Everyone should care. If it's too stupid to ask a grown-up man to do, we should probably not be asking teenagers and 18, 20-year-olds to do the same thing. The modern world. Common sense isn't as common as it once was. You know, I saw this clip online a few days ago about an American man. I think he was 34 or 36 years old, and he was like $430,000 in student loans because he had gone to school for several years to become a doctor. But the studies had become so hard towards the end of his education that he basically didn't pass his test. He didn't pass the tests, and he was so far behind that he could not just take the tests over again. If he was going to pass those tests, he kind of had to go back and do a lot of it all over again. A lot of the studies or degrees or whatever it was. So yeah, I think he had spent like, you know, if he was 34 years old, I guess he started education when he went out of primary school at like 16 years old, 16, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, like 18 years of life in the school system after spending a decade in the school system in primary school. And at the end of this, pretty much all he had to show for was 430,000 in student loans. Now, I'm not completely sure if he had spent all those years in school, but I think so, or at least a lot of them. But yeah, imagine that, $430,000 in student loans and not even having an education or degree or job to show for. So basically, he is almost kind of back to scratch. I guess there might be areas of jobs he can get into where his education might help a little, but he didn't become a doctor, so yeah, a lot of those jobs he could probably get without that so-called education as well. It's sad, you know, $430,000. How many years does he have to work now just to get back to zero? Just to get, just to become debt-free, just to pay off those student loans? Who knows? Crazy. Now that's a wild example, but 100 to $200,000 in student loans is really not that rare these days. So when you think about it, it kind of it's negative, but it kind of gets worse and worse the more you think about it, because yeah, people they finish primary school, they get into high school, college, different kind of degrees to get a job, But then they get into student loan debt. But when they get a job, yeah, now they are done. No, they're not done. Now they have the degree and maybe they get a job. A lot of people don't even get a job. But if they have the degree and they get the job, yeah, now they have to pay off the student loans as well. So if we include that into the equation as well, how many years do they have to work before they have paid off the student loans? If they really focused on that, how many years would that take? How many years worth of wages, or how many years worth of wages after normal living expenses does it take to pay off the college loan, the student loan? You know, in many cases, I guess you can maybe almost double it. Like if they spent like 6 years to get the degree, in a lot of cases, I think they actually have to spend like 6 years just to pay off the student loans as well. So now the education have kind of cost them 12 years on top of the decade they already had in primary school. When you think about it this way, it's wild. And student loans, we should include interest rates and all that as well. Yeah. I could go on and on about this modern education system, this modern school system. It's wild. That's one of the reasons that I'm building my own online education system. I mean, I'm building my own online education and community platform that I call Terrific 30. And my concept is basically that I interview 30 experts or 30 real life success stories about a specific thing. And then I'm turning those 30 interviews into a course and a community. And in many cases, also a book for terrific30.com. And once you are a member of Terrific 30, you get access to all of the courses and communities from those interviews. So yeah, that's the concept. Like Jim Rohn said, never attack a problem without also presenting a solution. So although this is not, I'm not claiming that this is the solution for absolutely everyone, but it definitely is the solution for a lot of people. And terrific30.com, you'll get access for $49 per month. You don't have to dig yourself into a hole of $430,000 in student loans. $49 per month, and you get access. Yeah, that's the concept, and the modern education system being such a mess. That's one of the big reasons that I am building my own online education and community platform. So yeah, and you know, these days, the last few weeks, I've been interviewing a bunch of people about their real life success story of building a paid community that is making at least $10,000 in profit per month. And so far, it has been mind-boggling. If you want to learn from those people, maybe you want to escape the matrix of the 9-to-5 rat race and build your own community cash cow, build your own paid community, you know, you should check it out on communitycashcows.com. So yeah, the modern school system, you know, I said a bunch about it now. This is not in any way a comprehensive presentation about my view on the modern school system, because there's so much more I have to say about it. But yeah, this is at least a glimpse and a few of my arguments as to why the modern school system is a scam. You know, some people say, yeah, but is it really a scam? People know what they get into. They know what they're paying for. No, not all of them, because oftentimes people are almost promised that they will get a job if they get this and this degree, and they get the degree, and there's no there's no longer there's no longer a need for workers with that type of degree. That's one thing, and another thing is that a lot of people are getting useless degrees that there almost doesn't even exist jobs for, or are almost no jobs for, like art degrees and gender studies, crazy things like that, and that the whole school system is misrepresenting a lot of these degrees. Yeah, totally. And also one of the reasons, that I call it a scam is because for a lot of these young people, extra education and degrees are required in order to get normal jobs. Whereas for older people, grown-ups, it is not required for the exact same jobs. Yet for young people, they have to have the education and degree in order to get the job. And then it is a scam because we are putting them into debt. You know, the system, whatever you want to call it, whoever decides these things, the government, the matrix, whatever you want to call it, the system is basically demanding a lot of young people to have extra education and get a degree in order to get jobs that other grown-ups don't need an education or degree or experience or knowledge to get. Then it is a scam because the system are demanding things from young people that are not demanded from grown-ups. So yeah, it definitely is a scam when you look at it that way. Of course, there are exceptions. There are people that get educations like becoming a brain surgeon, and in many of those cases, it makes perfect sense to get a long education and a degree like that. But also for the vast majority of cases, it does not make sense. And another thing I should mention while I'm on this rant about the modern school system is that a massive thing about my whole issue with it is also that the things they are learning in school are not even related to the subject they are supposed to learn about. A guy I know, he was going to become what's it called in English? Those people that are blowing up mountains with dynamite. I don't know what the exact name is in English, but that was what he was going to become. But he had to go, like 1 year of his school was about building houses. He had to learn about building houses because he was going to be working with exploding and blowing up mountains and rocks. What's the connection between those things? Is it really that similar to build a house and blow up a mountain, a rock? I don't see the connection. And on top of that, when it comes to his first year of learning about building houses, it was not really that much about building houses. It was also about Norwegian. Norwegian. The man was born in Norway. He had been speaking Norwegian since he was a little baby. Now he had to have Norwegian like a subject in school weekly, and a bunch of other subjects as well. Where is the connection? Wild. I'm sorry if I'm being negative about a lot of these things, but it's some things it is right to be negative about. We should not be all positive and happy about the system requiring young people to waste several years of their lives and get into tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans in order to get jobs that other grown men just gets without any silly degrees or student loans. I guess I just have to build my own online education and community platform, and at least I can do a little part in cleaning up a little bit of this spectacular shit show that is going on in the modern school system. And when it comes to that's on a positive note. When it comes to this modern school system, it really seems to be a kind of shift that is happening. That online education and alternative ways of learning online, like online courses, some coaching, online communities, stuff like that, that a lot of people seems to be considering those options more and more. So at least that's a really positive side to it. I think it was it like in 2035? It was expected that the online education industry will reach $1 trillion a year. I think it was. I'm not really sure. I might be off on that number, but it's definitely growing. So there is a shift happening. And although there's a lot of scammy online courses going on, especially in the online marketing space, that being said, there's also a bunch of good ones. And you can be one of them. You can make one of them, But online courses is one thing. Online communities can, in many cases, be a replacement for courses as well. So, yeah. Maybe you want to build your own paid community. If you want to learn from a bunch of those real life success stories that I've interviewed, you should check out communitycashcows.com. All right, you take care, and God bless.